Welcome. In this video, Chapter 5, 5 Emergency, and 5 Night of Girls Frontline will be summarized. Throughout the video, there will be spoilers for the story of Girls Frontline. If you don't want to be spoiled, please go and play the game. Continuing on from Chapter 4, Hellion and the Commander finally meet face to face at a secret G&K base. Hellion fills the Commander in on why they were called there, with her explaining that Persica pieced together some keywords from the intel that AR team got from Safehouse 3. SF is plotting to initiate an unknown plan called Parapuli, and no matter how it's implemented, it will pose an immense threat to G&K, which is why Kruger has called an emergency meeting at the secret base to discuss countermeasures. Since the secret base isn't far from the Commander's control center, Hellion wants the Commander to participate in a drill to test the efficiency of G&K T-dolls and to update the HQ database. After the drill finishes, MP40 comes up to the Commander to tell them that the drill went smoothly, as well as passing on a message from Hellion to meet her at Control Room 3 for the meeting. The control room is very similar to the TAC center of Area S09. M4 calls into the Commander saying that from the info they got while patrolling the area, the secret base isn't safe right now. Static begins interfering with the call with only bits and pieces of M4 saying that they are rushing to the Commander's current location and asking if the Commander heard a noise. Suddenly, an explosion occurs with sweltering heat and a deafening tremor crashing into the room. M4 asks through the static what's happening there, with the Commander being hit in the back of the head. The Commander loses consciousness in the midst of M4's cries. The Commander begins to come to, and is woken by someone telling them that they've had enough sleep. It's Kruger. He tells the Commander that only a rifle fell on them with SF forces pouring into the base behind him. Kruger introduces himself and asks if the Commander can still fight, handing the Commander a Makarov. He explains that they've been ambushed and that he wants the Commander to mount a resistance to fight off SF and make sure that reinforcements are in position. The Commander limps over to the control panel and inspects it for damage. It's ready for use, and the Commander deploys troops to mount a counterattack. G&K T-dolls appear to have gained the upper hand. The Commander leaves the room and hurries to where the T-dolls have assembled, but not before hearing a voice call out to them. It's M4. She asks if the Commander is okay, explaining that she was worried about the Commander, but feels better now that she knows they're safe. Kruger appears again, telling the Commander that they have something to talk about, with M4 saying that she'll have AR team members on standby before running off. Before starting, Kruger tells the Commander that M4 is a special T-doll and to keep her safe, and she'll show her worth someday. Kruger praises the Commander for how well they did, but SF will press forward again soon. The meeting was confidential, the base was a total secret, but SF was able to launch a precise attack against G&K, so intel must have been leaked from within. Hellion is put on the case, and the Commander is told to come with him. 5 minutes later, where the T-dolls are standing by, MP40 is telling the dolls to let those who are carrying small arms pass through first, as well as telling FNC to finish her ice cream before joining the queue, and that she doesn't qualify as a small arm just because she's short. Star grows impatient as everyone else has orders but AR team. M16 tells her to calm down as they'll have a big job soon due to the Commander going off with Kruger. M4 believes that there will be a second raid soon as the SF ringleader hasn't shown herself. Sop wants another showdown. M16 state that it's weird for SF to spring a surprise attack so suddenly, with Star saying that it's a perfect chance to settle the score, before mumbling, "Time is running out." Back to the Commander, Kruger, and Hellion. Hellion reports to Kruger that the results of the preliminary investigation are out. They've traced the leak to an abandoned command post in the vicinity of the HQ, with Hellion being certain that it's where the SF ringleader receives intel and directs the attack, with G&K being ready to raid it at any time. Kruger directly tells the Commander to mount a raid on the command post and to destroy or capture the SF ringleader hiding there. Over at the abandoned command post, AR team breaches in. Sop shouts that it's empty, with Star quieting her down and telling her to watch her surroundings. M4 calls an all clear, with M16 noticing footprints on the floor, believing the ringleader just gave them the slip. A call comes through telling them that they left 30 minutes ago. The ringleader introduces herself as Destroyer, saying it's nice to see them even though it's just a call. Destroyer was going to take her plan further at the command post while things were a mess, but didn't expect for G&K to find her or move so fast. M4 tells Destroyer that G&K is on high alert now, so she won't be receiving any more intel from her mole. Destroyer doesn't care and calls the T-Dolls dumbasses for not being able to figure it out, taunting them saying that, quote, they won't be able to do a thing before hanging up. M16 asks if her call can be traced, with M4 responding that it can barely be tracked, but there's a lot of encrypted data that can't be tracked right away. Sop calls Destroyer an idiot for not knowing they're tracing her, with Star suggesting that they should retreat and report the encounter ASAP. Hellion reports to the commander that Kruger is very happy with their performance, with the ringleader not being able to go very far, and she'll send someone to find her whereabouts. In the meantime, there's another mission. The commander is to give some of the trapped G&K forces a hand against the SF forces. After the battle, IDW thanks the commander for the rescue. M16 asks if that was the last batch, and Star asks if they can go home yet. M4 tells Star that HQ is still searching for the mole leaking info, so everybody is on standby. Stop complains that T-Doll shouldn't leak secrets, but M4 tells her they're their orders, so they'll have to put up with it for a while. Hellion appears and says she has an announcement to make. After screening, they've discovered a T-Doll that has been processing an abnormal amount of information. Tactical Doll AR-15 of AR Team. When scanning their database, they found a substantial anomaly in the server traffic generated by Star while uploading info. They are shutting down her communication module, and security officers will escort her to the confinement room for further screening. M16 is in disbelief. Sop begins to yell that they've got the wrong person. Star calms her down by saying that they can't disobey orders no matter how loud they yell, and it's just screening. They're not saying she's the culprit for sure. M4 tells Star that she believes her, with Star telling them to not mess up, before leaving with Hellion. Back in the temporary control room, Hellion tells the commander that they're certain that Star has been planted with an SF program before she regrouped with the team. They've shut down her comms module to cut off all external data transfers, but they're still screening for IDs in her program to root out the code. There's no plan to dismantle Star given how valuable she is. Instead, they'll be using her to determine the source of the virus and prevent it from happening again. Thanks to AR Team, there's another chance of locating Destroyer, but just in case, G&K needs more sources of info to confirm her location. The commander sends troops into SF territory to collect more info. After providing cover for troops entering the territory, M4 calls the commander saying that AR Team has reached their destination undercover, have almost finished collecting the info, and are requesting further direction. Sop is still down about Star, questioning why they have modules that stimulate emotions. M16 ponders what it's like in the beginning, before being cut off by M4 saying that the commander wants them to retreat once the info is collected. M4 asks if Sop is okay. Sop responds that she doesn't know, as AR Team only just got back together after going through so much. M4 reassures Sop that Star won't be disarmed and will be back very soon. M16 is pleased by this, or else the next time they see Star will be at the cafe or the coal mines. M16 then receives an emergency broadcast. Hellion is the one broadcasting, saying it's an urgent announcement. Star disobeyed orders from G&K High Command and left the base without permission. All field commanders and T-Dolls are to restrain her on site, and if need be, they have permission to damage Star if the situation calls for it. Hellion repeats the broadcast again. Star of AR Team disobeyed the order of returning to the confinement room 5 minutes ago, breaking free of her restraints and escaping from the vicinity of the base with her whereabouts being unknown. Star is suspected of being infected and controlled by an SF virus and is highly dangerous, on top of her comms module being deactivated. If the situation calls for it, field commanders have permission to attack or destroy her. M4 calls into the commander, asking what they do now. They'll carry out their orders, whatever it may be, so don't hesitate to issue commands. M16 asks M4 what the commander said, to which he responds with, quote, no matter what, find AR-15 first. Sop has located Destroyer's newest coordinates using the info they collected, and since they haven't reported their findings yet, they can get there before anyone else. M4 asks what good it does to locate Destroyer. M16 asks M4 if she really believes that Star is under SF control, and that there isn't a possibility that she fled on her own volition because there's something that she absolutely had to do. M4 finds it hard to understand that, as a T-Doll, how could Star disobey orders to avenge herself? M16 says that she'll learn someday, but not today. Sop asks the commander to give the order so that AR team can break through SF's last defense and get to Destroyer and Star. In the abandoned control center, Destroyer calls Dreamer, telling her that GNK is moving much quicker than expected, asking Dreamer to stop them with her firepower. Dreamer asks why. Destroyer tells her that it's the deal they made. Once her mission is accomplished, Dreamer will cover her retreat with air support. Dreamer asks if she's completed the mission, with Destroyer responding that the assassination attempt on Kruger failed, which was to be expected, but the program planted into Star is working, as she found the data concerning Safehouse 3 in her neural cloud, with all info for Plan Parapuli being ready. Dreamer then asks Destroyer that, since the mission is accomplished, what's the point in keeping her? Since they're T-dolls, that pretty much means they're disposable goods, and Dreamer doesn't want to waste her resources on picking up trash. Destroyer is taken aback by this, with Dreamer continuing to say that even if Destroyer dies, she'll come back to life soon enough, forgetting everything she had to do with Dreamer, then will take orders again like a puppy. Destroyer says she won't believe Dreamer ever again, with Dreamer asking if she believes this is the first time that it's happened. Destroyer cusses her out before Dreamer says that she was just kidding and to stop crying, as Agent installed a key code for accepting the file transfer on Destroyer in case Dreamer starts messing around. Dreamer has already begun to attack AR team, leaving Destroyer 10 minutes to get out of there, but Dreamer will dump her for real next time if Destroyer gets trapped again. Dreamer finds Star nearby, with Star asking how did Dreamer notice her, with Dreamer responding that whoever controls the skies controls everything. Dreamer asks if Star was waiting for GNK to shut down her comms module just to pull a sneak attack on them, with Star confirming this. Dreamer then asks why, as a T-doll, did Star go through such lengths to disobey her employers. Star asks Dreamer if she thinks she'd forgive her for using her to acquire info and put her friends in danger. Dreamer tells Star to not get worked up, as Star knew it all along that she was the source of the leak, and if she told her friends earlier, Destroyer's plans would have failed. Star tells her to believe what she wants, as her current actions have nothing to do with GNK orders. Dreamer believes that Star doesn't understand, telling Star that she was chosen, asking if she remembers the ability they gifted Star. Star begins to realize what had been happening, with Dreamer taunting Star to put up more of a fight to see if their death throws make things better or worse. Star says she'll keep fighting until she gets to the bottom of everything. Dreamer asks if she's willing to betray an entire organization for her friend's sake, and if she should applaud such sentiments. Star is only doing this because it's an order she was given as a T-doll. She will not betray those who accepted her, even if it costs her home. She will step on SF's broken faces and choke out all their conspiracies one by one. 5 Emergency chronicles the rest of AR team trying to find AR-15 and Destroyer. They retreat from where Destroyer was hiding under a hail of strong artillery, almost shoot Kruger at an abandoned command post when they were looking for information, finding a copy of Star's neural cloud that she left behind that matches 404's previous discovery, where SF plans on wiping out GNK once and for all with their next plan, and Kruger telling Hellion to report all fit T-dolls for battle, as it's GNK's turn to make a move now. 5 Night starts with Hellion telling the commander that Persica's technical analysis on something called Jupiter is almost complete, and that they'll be able to launch a full-scale counterstrike soon, but the commander has been summoned for a different reason. She then calls in M99. M99 explains to the commander that SF has been wreaking havoc on GNK territories with the Jupiter, which poses a severe threat to the safety of human settlements. Even supply routes and storehouses have been jeopardized, which hinders their efforts in bringing supplies to said local settlements. But GNK HQ has decided to send a squad to a storehouse that came under Jupiter attack so they can salvage surviving supplies and get them to a nearby town. Hellion tells the commander that M99 is the T-doll in charge of the operation, with the commander's mission being guiding her and her squad in the carrying out of this operation. Later, someone codenamed Hawk calls into someone codenamed Chief. Chief is M99 and tells Hawk to go ahead. Type 97S is Hawk and asks if everything is ready as she's freezing, with M99 apologizing for taking so long, then saying she's heading out now as she just got the green light. M99 asks 97S if she's at all scared that they're traveling in the dark. 97S says that escort missions are her forte, and asks what's there to be nervous about, and that she's patrolled this route many times with Mosin and her friends, knowing it like the back of her hand. M99 only feels at ease if she can see far ahead, but her vision is bad during the night. M99 asks why she was sent as she isn't fit for such operations. 97S tells her to grin and bear it as things don't always go the way they want, and that they'll just have to move on, reassuring M99 that she won't let anyone touch her. M99 appreciates it and asks the commander to lead the way. After arriving at the storehouse, 97S spots Type 56-1 and waves at her. 56 asks if something happened on their way there, with M99 apologizing, saying that there were many SF units along the way. 56 says that the supplies are packed and ready to go. 97S thought there would be more, with 56 explaining that some humans from a nearby settlement took some, which is why she's there to guard the rest of it. They then head out to their destination. 30 minutes later, 56 asks M99 if she wants to grab a snack. M99 offers her chocolate, with 56 taking it and saying that it's hardly enough, not to mention that the chocolate that M99 has, which 56 believes is from 92, is adulterated fat, as 92 knows that M99 can't tell the difference and always gives the cheap stuff to M99. M99 asks why 56 is so picky, as she's usually down to earth, with 97S saying that 56 is a huge foodie and that M99 could learn a thing or two from her. M99 makes excuses, then says they have to wait for everyone to show up. 97S didn't expect more people, but M99 says that they have to stop by a recon outpost to meet up with someone called NZ, as she was sent to scout out ahead. 56 isn't a fan of NZ, as she describes her as difficult. M99 says that NZ is very serious on missions and that they can't cook until they meet up with NZ. 56 gets everyone to rush as she's starving, with M99 asking the commander to lead them to the outpost. The three arrive at the recon outpost where NZ-75 is located, but they can't seem to find her anywhere. 97S has an idea and shouts out that NZ's new dress is here, with NZ revealing her location with a clang. NZ is embarrassed to be found that way, with 97S telling her to hurry up and tell M99 her report. NZ reports that many SF bases lie ahead, but security is low and it shouldn't be too big a problem as long as they're careful. 56 asks where they can resupply, with NZ saying that all the supply outposts along the route are either destroyed or looted after security went down. M99 tells everyone to dig in on the food and move the stuff quickly in hope of the locals showing them hospitality. 56 suggests opening a crate as no one will find out, with M99 snapping at her to not touch them as they're under orders from the military, as 56 is known for being honest and she's astonished that she'd even suggest such a thing. 56 tells her that no one can fight on an empty stomach, with 97S agreeing that it's hard to keep morale up with a few ration cans when there's nowhere to resupply. M99 tells everyone they're not far from their destination, and they're bound to come across a supply outpost that's intact at some point during their journey. NZ says she wants to get it over with ASAP. 30 minutes later again, the four of them spot the human settlement, with M99 asking if everyone can make it. NZ and 56 are hungry, with 97S's stomach rumbling. NZ teases 97S, with M99 calming them both down. The three of them start fighting more and more, bringing up previous incidents such as P7's mooncakes, roast pork with too much soy sauce, and so on. M99 finally manages to calm them down and asks the commander to continue to lead the way. After the fighting, the four reach another abandoned supply outpost. 97S asks M99 if they can go yet, with M99 saying that they can't move until there's a gap in enemy patrols, as there's an SF ringleader in the area who's in control of a Jupiter. NZ grows impatient, with 56 piping up that the humans aren't actually short on food, revealing that the supplies are ingredients for the rich to throw banquets with. Otherwise, they wouldn't be looted so thoroughly. 56 tries to sneak a bit before being stopped by M99, as a mission is a mission. M99 finally caves into the other three, with them coming up with the excuse that their supplies were lost along the way. NZ, 56, and 97S dig through the food, planning on what to eat, going through fresh veggies, meat, and then getting into a spat about preparing food. While they argue, 56 hears something incoming. It's a Jupiter, and the four duck from the spot. They're all fine, as only the kitchen collapsed. All of the food is gone. 5 minutes later, Destroyer calls in saying she detected them a while ago but didn't want to scare them off too early. Even if that strike didn't kill them, it gave the T-Dolls a taste of its power, and with the next strike, she's then cut off by 56 and 97S, saying there won't be a next strike, vowing that today will be the day Destroyer dies. Destroyer asks if they know who she is, with NZ responding that she's the one M4 wiped the floor with. The three raise their fists and charge Destroyer. M99 asks for the help of the commander, as the enemy has a lot of troops. After the battle, Destroyer calls all units to return to base to await orders as they have escaped. M99 says that they reached the human settlement 2 hours later and handed off the goods, with the recipient not objecting to the excuse of lost goods, but they didn't escape Hellion's watchful eye. Back at HQ, Hellion asks M99 about the small difference between what they received and what they delivered. M99 says that she explained it to the person there, with Hellion bringing up that the report they submitted says the difference was lost in battle, yet the packaging of the supplies and the photos were in good condition. Hellion sure that the supplies were well protected and didn't think one box would go missing. Hellion tells M99 to tell the truth as she doesn't want to have to go through her neural cloud. M99 explains how it was lost, but is cut off by Hellion receiving a call. After the call, Hellion returns saying that the commander told them that M99's team was critically low on supplies during the battle and were ordered to open up the goods to use as an emergency supply. M99 confirms this, with Hellion saying that they'll more suitably arrange and upgrade supply points to prevent similar incidents in the future. Hellion then praises M99's team for the mission, saying that they'll be rewarded, and that they should rest and recover in the meantime. M99 feels less guilty now that the commander covered for her, while the rest of the group reminisces about the lost food. M99 then opens a container by her feet, with M99 explaining that the client gave her a small token of appreciation before they left, as she was such a cute T-doll. 56 tells M99 to invite the commander tonight to join the feast, while the rest gossip about the different foods that they should make for the commander, as well as what the other Chinese T-dolls are making food-wise. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Twitter for updates, and check out my other Azure Lane and Arknights videos as well.